Before the world knew what was truly happening, there was a secret that had been hidden for centuries. The truth about Iran, about Persia, and how it ties into the ancient prophecies of the Bible is far more shocking than we could ever imagine. It's not just a coincidence. This is a piece of God's great plan unfolding before our eyes. Have you ever wondered why the ancient empires are still so relevant today? Why is Iran, the modern-day Persia, playing such a pivotal role in the events of the end times? We're diving deep into something that no one wants to talk about. We'll explore the truth about Persia's prophecy in the Bible, Ezekiel, Daniel, Jeremiah, and how these ancient writings mirror the modern-day tensions between Iran and Israel. Have you ever asked yourself why the Bible spoke so clearly about Persia's rise and its ultimate fate? Why are we witnessing the fulfillment of these prophecies right now in the very heart of the Middle East? In this video, you will understand how the Bible's words from thousands of years ago are not just history. They are alive today. We'll uncover the ancient secrets that are hidden in plain sight, showing how Iran, the land of Persia, is not just a political power, but a key player in the divine plan for the last days. You'll see how every prophecy, every warning, and every promise from God is unfolding before our very eyes. The connection between the ancient scriptures and the modern-day headlines isn't a random coincidence. It's a divine blueprint, one that we must understand. The question is, do you see it? Will you open your eyes to what is happening right now? Will you recognize the call for change, for spiritual awakening, for preparing your heart? The stories we're about to explore aren't just stories. They're the revelation of God's plan. This video will give you the keys to understanding what the Bible has warned us about, how Iran's role in the end times is unfolding, and how these prophecies are being fulfilled. Get ready, because what you're about to discover might just change everything you've ever known. The truth behind Iran's role in biblical prophecies. The truth is right before our eyes, hidden in the heart of the Bible's most compelling prophecies. The land of Persia, which today we call Iran, was foretold in ancient scriptures, and what is happening now is not just history. It is the living word of God unfolding in real time. This is a reality many are afraid to face, but it's one that will give us deeper insight into what is truly happening in the Middle East and how it connects to God's plan for the last days. The Bible speaks with stunning clarity about Persia's future, from the Old Testament to the prophetic writings. The rise of Persia is no accident. God had a purpose for this powerful empire, and that purpose is being realized today. What we're seeing in the headlines, the mounting tensions between Iran and Israel, are not merely geopolitical struggles. They are fulfilling the very prophecies spoken by Ezekiel, Jeremiah, and Daniel thousands of years ago. This isn't just theory. It's happening in real time, and we must recognize it as such. The world may ignore the historical roots of this conflict, but if we look back to the time of King Cyrus, we see God's hand moving to set his people free. King Cyrus, known in the Bible as God's anointed one, liberated Israel from Babylonian captivity and allowed the Jews to rebuild their temple. This wasn't just a political act. It was part of God's divine plan. Today, we find Iran at the center of this divine story once again. The question is, will we see it? Will we connect these dots? Understanding Iran's prophetic role helps us understand the present and the future, revealing the path that is already being walked, the hidden message of Ezekiel's prophecy and Iran's future. Ezekiel 38 and 39 contain prophecies that are as disturbing as they are revealing. Persia, now Iran, is specifically mentioned as a key player in a final showdown against Israel. This isn't a prediction of a distant past. This is a prediction for the times we're living in. Ezekiel describes a powerful alliance of nations, an alliance that includes Persia, Iran, which will come against Israel in the last days. This prophecy was given thousands of years ago, but what we're seeing today is far from random. It is the culmination of God's eternal plan, and Iran's role in this unfolding drama is undeniable. The Bible doesn't just talk about Iran's military alliances, it speaks about God's intervention, His divine protection over Israel. In Ezekiel 39, we read about the supernatural judgments that will fall upon those who come against God's people, earthquakes, fire, and divine wrath. This is a warning, but it is also a promise. God will never leave His people defenseless. He will rise up in power and might, fulfilling every word of prophecy spoken. Think about the current alliances forming between Iran and other nations like Russia and China. These connections are more than just political maneuvering. They are part of the prophetic picture laid out in Ezekiel. The Bible says that these nations will come together to bring chaos, but the conclusion will not be theirs to write. God will intervene. His power is greater than any earthly force. We are witnessing the birth of these alliances right now, just as Ezekiel predicted. As the tensions rise, so does the opportunity for God's power to be revealed in a way that will leave the world in awe. The Bible's message of hope in the midst of conflict is as real today as it was when the prophets spoke. This is the moment when God's sovereignty and His purpose for Israel will shine brighter than ever before. Iran's role in these events is no accident. It is a part of God's perfect plan, unfolding before our eyes. In understanding this, we are reminded that every prophecy, every warning, every promise made by God is not just an ancient story. It is a living truth. The events happening right now are not just the clash of nations. They are the beginning of the fulfillment of God's plan for the world. And that plan includes Israel. It includes you and me. It's time to pay attention, to look past the surface, and to see the power of God's word being fulfilled in front of us. The hope of restoration, Iran's future, according to Jeremiah. In the midst of Ezekiel's devastating prophecy, there is a glimmer of hope. Jeremiah 49:39 speaks of a time when, after judgment has come upon Iran, ancient Elam, God will restore the people of Elam. This is a remarkable message of grace and mercy. Even after the darkest times, God's hand of restoration will move. It's a reminder that God's ultimate plan is not destruction, but restoration. No matter how far a nation has fallen, no matter how deep the judgment, God's mercy can always bring about renewal. This prophecy isn't just about the nation of Iran. It's a message for the world. It's a message that no situation is beyond God's redemptive power. It's a message that in the middle of turmoil, there is a chance for new life, new beginnings, and new hope. Just as God restored Israel after centuries of captivity, He promises that Iran, too, can experience a future of peace and restoration. This is the beautiful side of God's sovereignty, that after the darkest nights, the dawn of His mercy breaks forth. When we look at Iran today, we may see conflict, chaos, and division, but through the lens of prophecy, we see a future where God's mercy and restoration are available. We must remember that God's ultimate goal is not to punish, but to bring all nations to Himself. Even in the face of judgment, God has a plan for revival. This is a powerful reminder that no nation is too far gone for God's grace to reach. If God can restore a nation like Israel, He can certainly restore any nation, including Iran. This truth should bring us hope, no matter what the future holds. In understanding this, we must ask ourselves, what is our role in this divine plan? How can we be a part of the restoration that God promises? How can we bring His message of love, mercy, and redemption to the world? These are the questions we must consider as we witness the unfolding of these prophecies. The message is clear. God has not forgotten any nation, and His plan is always one of hope, not despair. Even as the world watches these events unfold, we can stand firm in the truth that God's mercy and grace will ultimately win the day, the prophetic restoration of Iran, a divine hope for the future. In the midst of the fierce storms of judgment, a promise of restoration shines brighter than ever before. The book of Jeremiah reveals a divine truth that cannot be ignored. Even after the nations face the consequences of their actions, God's hand of mercy and restoration will move. Iran, known as ancient Elam in the Bible, is not exempt from this promise. Jeremiah 49:39 speaks of a future where, after experiencing divine judgment, Iran will be restored. This prophetic message is not just for the nation of Iran, it is a message for the entire world. And more importantly, it is a message for you. When we look at Iran today, we may see conflict, division, and despair, but we must never lose sight of the bigger picture. The Bible shows us that even after the darkest of times, God's mercy can bring about a miraculous transformation. The people of Iran, like the people of any nation, are not forgotten. They are not beyond the reach of God's loving touch. His grace will prevail, and His plan for restoration will unfold in the most unexpected ways. Just as Israel was restored from captivity and hardship, so too will Iran experience a restoration that defies all odds. This is where our faith becomes powerful. We are witnessing the beginning of a divine transformation. The same God who restored Israel from Babylonian captivity is the same God who will restore Iran in His perfect time. His plan is not bound by the constraints of human understanding. It is beyond anything we could ever imagine. This restoration will not only be political or physical, it will be spiritual. Iran, like every other nation, will experience the touch of God's healing grace. This is the hope that we must carry in our hearts. But this message of restoration is not just for nations. It's also a personal message. No matter how far you have fallen, no matter how broken your life may seem, God's plan for you is one of redemption and healing. His hand is outstretched, waiting to restore, to rebuild, and to bring you back to the fullness of His purpose. The promise of restoration is not just for Israel, not just for Iran, but for each of us. Let this message stir something deep within you. Let it remind you that no matter the darkness, there is always hope in God's divine plan. Lessons of divine intervention, the power of God's will. As we reflect on the prophecies surrounding Iran and its role in the end times, it becomes clear that God's hand is at work in every situation. The Bible's promises of divine intervention are not mere words. They are truths that have stood the test of time. In Ezekiel 38-39, we read of a time when nations will come together in opposition to Israel, but it is also the time when God will demonstrate His supreme power and authority. The words of Ezekiel are not just warnings, they are a revelation of God's incredible power. When nations rise against Israel, when chaos seems to overwhelm the world, God will act. His intervention will not be subtle, it will be supernatural. Earthquakes, fire from heaven, and divine judgment will fall upon those who dare to oppose His will. But it is not just a display of wrath, it is a manifestation of His love for His people. God's intervention is not a sign of destruction, it is a sign of deliverance. He will never allow His people to be consumed by the forces of darkness. The same God who parted the Red Sea, who brought down the walls of Jericho, and who delivered Israel from the hands of their enemies, is the same God who will intervene in the current conflicts we see today. His power is unlimited, and His love is unshakable. When He speaks, the heavens respond. When He acts, the earth trembles. This is the God who is protecting His people, and this is the God who is still in control today. But the question remains, do we truly believe in this power? Do we trust in God's ability to intervene in our lives, in our nations, and in our world? The challenges we face may seem insurmountable, but the Bible teaches us that with God, nothing is impossible. His intervention is a promise, and we can take comfort in knowing that He will act on our behalf. The story of divine intervention is not just about the future, it is about the present. Right now, in your life, God is ready to move. When you feel overwhelmed, when the darkness seems too much to bear, remember that God is always ready to intervene. He is waiting for you to call upon Him. His divine power is available to those who seek Him. Just as He will intervene for Israel and for Iran, He will intervene for you. His love and His power are the greatest forces in the universe, and nothing, absolutely nothing, can stand in His way. The supernatural intervention of God in the end times. As we approach the final chapters of history, there's one truth that stands above all. God's intervention in the world is unstoppable. Ezekiel 38-39 paints a vivid picture of the overwhelming power of God's hand when nations come against Israel. When the forces of darkness seem to rise, when it looks like Israel's enemies have the upper hand, God steps in with a force that no human army can match. Earthquakes, fire, and devastation from the heavens themselves will descend upon those who dare to challenge the Almighty. But this isn't just wrath, it is salvation, it is deliverance. God is showing the world His power, and His love for His people is so fierce that He will not let them fall. Imagine the earth trembling beneath your feet, the sky darkening, the very forces of nature bending to God's will. In that moment you realize that every prophecy, every word of judgment, is not only for Israel, it's for the world. God is coming to save, to protect, to restore. The enemies of God will not stand. His protection over Israel is His protection over you. His judgment is a declaration that He will always stand with His people. He is mighty to save. But the real question is, do you believe this power is at work in your life today? Do you believe that when everything seems impossible, God can still break through with His supernatural might? His power is not confined to ancient prophecy. It's active right now, ready to intervene in your life, in your challenges, in your moments of doubt. Just like the armies of the world will tremble before Him, so too will every obstacle in your life fall when He steps in. Trust in His power. Call on Him and witness His intervention. Iran's role in the last days, the rising storm. Iran's role in the end times is not just political, it's prophetic. Ezekiel's prophecy about Persia in the last days is not a casual mention. It's a key element in God's grand design for history. Persia, now Iran, will align itself with other nations to oppose Israel. This prophecy is unfolding right now. We see it in the alliances Iran is forming with Russia, China, and other forces in the region. We see it in the growing tensions, the rise of conflict, and the way nations are positioning themselves. What we are witnessing is more than just a political struggle. It is the manifestation of what was foretold thousands of years ago. But don't be fooled. This is not a story of defeat. It is a story of God's victory. The enemy may gather, but the battle is already won. God has already declared the end from the beginning. Iran, as part of this prophecy, will be caught in the grand clash of kingdoms. But in the end, God's hand will bring about justice, and His will be done. The world may fear the power of nations, but we must never forget that God's power is unmatched. His plans will not be thwarted, no matter how powerful the nations that rise against His will. In the midst of this rising storm, we must ask ourselves, how will we respond? Will we be people of faith who trust in God's promises? Or will we be swept up in the fear of the world's powers? The choice is ours. We can choose to stand firm in faith, knowing that no matter how great the storm, God's intervention will be the final word. The call to pray and stand in faith. As we watch these prophetic events unfold, one thing is certain: God's plan is coming to fruition, and He calls us to be a part of it. But this is not a passive waiting game. God calls us to action. We are called to stand in prayer, to intercede for the nations, and to stand firm in our faith. We must pray for Iran, for the peace of Israel, and for God's will to be done in the midst of chaos. We must pray that the hearts of nations will turn to God, that He will use these events to bring about a spiritual awakening in the world. Just as God promises to restore Israel, He promises to restore every nation that seeks His face. The call is not just for Israel to stand firm, it's for us to stand firm, to pray without ceasing, to trust that God's will is greater than the forces of darkness. This is not just a battle of politics or armies. This is a spiritual battle, and it is fought on our knees. So I challenge you, will you stand in the gap? Will you pray for the peace of Jerusalem, for the restoration of Iran, and for the fulfillment of God's promises? His power is greater than any political force, greater than any army, greater than any enemy that may rise against His people. Stand in faith, pray with power, and watch as God's plan unfolds, just as He promised. As the world spins faster and the chaos around us intensifies, there's a deeper truth we must hold on to. God's plan is never shaken. His promises are unwavering, even in the most uncertain of times. We've witnessed the unfolding of prophecy in ways that seem almost surreal, from the ancient scriptures to the headlines of today. What we are seeing isn't a random event. It's a cosmic dance of divine will, a story written long before any of us were born. The prophetic words in the Bible are coming to life, and we are alive to witness it. When we look at the unrest in Iran, the tensions between nations, the shifting alliances, it's easy to get overwhelmed by fear. But I want you to hear this clearly. God's hand is not absent in the midst of chaos. Just as He has intervened throughout history, He is intervening now. This isn't just a tale of nations and politics, it's a tale of God's might and His unfailing love. He is the one who moves the mountains, who speaks, and the earth trembles. His word is law, and it will not return void. Take a moment and think about the ancient promises God made to His people. He spoke of a time when nations would rise against Israel, but He also spoke of His protection, His justice, and His ultimate victory. That same God who parted the Red Sea, who brought down the walls of Jericho, and who delivered Israel time and time again, is still at work today. He is not distant or detached from what is happening in our world. He is here, He is active, and He is sovereign. When you watch the news and see the conflicts rising, when you hear about the power struggles between countries, I want you to remember this. God is still in control. His plan is bigger than any crisis. His will is greater than any army. His power cannot be rivaled. And just like He promised in the past, He will fulfill His promises for Israel and for the nations. But more than that, He will fulfill His promises for you and me. Every trial, every hardship, every battle we face, there is purpose in it. There is power in it. God's hand is shaping us, refining us, and preparing us for something greater. We may not always understand why things happen the way they do, but we can trust that God is always working behind the scenes. His timing is perfect, His plan is flawless, and His love for us never fails. Think about this for a moment. You are a part of His grand design. You are not a bystander in this story. You are a key player in this divine plan. Your life has purpose, your actions matter, and your faith can move mountains. God is calling you to stand firm in the face of adversity, to hold on to His promises, and to trust that He is working all things together for your good. When everything around you feels uncertain, remember that God's foundation is unshakable. In the midst of the storm, God's peace is available to you. His protection is over you. His provision is there, even when it seems like there's nothing left. We are not defined by the chaos around us. we are defined by the strength of the one who is with us, guiding us and leading us to victory. So when the world tells you that hope is lost, remind yourself of this truth. Hope is never lost when God is in control. He is the eternal anchor, the firm foundation that never wavers. Now, I know times are tough, and it might feel like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. But I want you to remember something profound. You are not alone in this. You are part of a much bigger story, a story of redemption, restoration, and victory. And no matter what you're facing today, there is a greater purpose at work in your life. If this video has touched you, if you feel like it has spoken to your heart, I invite you to support this journey with a little bit of your energy. Your like, your subscribe, your comments, all of it helps spread this message further and brings light to those who need it the most. Your support means more than you can imagine, not just to me, but to everyone who is on this journey with us. It's not just about growing numbers. It's about growing the community, lifting each other up, and sharing the love and truth of God with the world. So, if this message has spoken to you in any way, I encourage you to leave a comment, share your thoughts, and help us continue to spread this hope. Remember, every small act of kindness, every moment of support, it all adds up. It's not just about donating, it's about sharing energy, sharing truth, and helping others find the light in the darkness. So, if you feel moved, take a moment to give what you can. Whether it's a like, a share, or a comment, every little bit counts. And know this, your support is truly invaluable. Thank you from the depths of my heart for being part of this mission, for being a part of something bigger than all of us. Together, we can shine the light of God's love and truth into the world. And I'm so grateful to have you with me on this journey. We are not waiting for the end of the world. We are living in the greatest story ever told, and we are part of God's plan right here, right now. Stay strong, stay faithful, and trust in His will. The best is yet to come.